Hello students. So let us come back to the magnetic fields. In the last lecture we have seen the derivation of the curl, and in this lecture we are going to see the interpretation of curl and Stokes theorem. So in the last lecture we have seen the equation of curl of H is equal to dou Hz by dou y minus dou Hy by dou z into Ax cap plus dou Hx by dou z minus dou Hz by dou x into Ay cap plus dou Hy by dou x minus dou Hx by dou y into Az cap. So this is the equation of the curl for Cartesian coordinate system for a rectangular loop. And same equation can be written in terms of determinant, that is curl of H is equal to determinant of Ax, Ay, Az, dou by dou x, dou by dou y, dou by dou z, and Hx, Hy, Hz. If we solve this determinant, we will get the same equation as above. And this curl of H is expressed as del cross of H. So del operator is used to interpret the curl operation for an given vector field. So, and also we know that the as curl of H, that is del cross H, is this equation, and this part we have seen already some equations in the last lecture, that dou Hz by dou y minus dou Hz by dou y minus dou Hy by dou z is nothing but Jx, and this part is nothing but Jy, and this part is nothing but Jz. So we can equate these terms as Jx plus Jy plus Jz, that is nothing but capital J. So finally we can write del cross H is equal to J bar, and this equation is known as point form of Ampere's law, or it is one of the Maxwell's equations for static fields in the magnetic field uh, region. So let us see what is this curl, meaning of the curl in physical phenomena. The curl is an operation on a vector which measures the extent of rotation of the field about a point. So when we apply a curl to the vector, means that it is used to measure how much that vector rotates above that point. Suppose that if f represents a velocity of a field of a fluid, then the curl of f at point P is a vector that measures the tendency of the particles near point P to rotate about the axis that points in the direction of the vector. The magnitude of the curl vector at point P measures how quickly, means its magnitude, whatever the vector quantity is there. So whatever after applying the curl, whatever we will get is nothing but the magnitude of that vector quantity at that point, and that magnitude tells us that how much quickly the particles rotate about this axis. In other words, the curl at a point is a measure of vector field's spinning operation or spin at that point. For example, if I place this kind of paddle wheel in a water flow, suppose, then if the water is steady, the wheel will not rotate. Okay, so imagine a paddle wheel placed into fluid at point P with axis of this paddle. So this is the axis of the paddle, this is the axis of the paddle below the water, and this axis of the paddle is aligned with curl vector. The curl measures the tendency of the paddle wheel to rotate. So a curl is applied, means that if there is a curl, then these paddles of this wheel will rotate in either anti-clockwise direction or in clockwise direction. Means if there is a velocity of stream is available, if the water is flowing with some velocity, this means that water is a vector quantity, and if I place this paddle inside that water, then this paddle will move in either anti-clockwise direction or in clockwise direction. If it is moving in anti-clockwise direction, then we can say that this normal component which is going in upward direction is indicating the direction of the curl, and if the paddle is moving in clockwise direction, then we can say that the direction of the curl quantity or whatever the curl will get is in the direction which is in downward side. So in this way we can apply the same right hand rule to interpret the direction of the final value of the curl. So if you if we place a paddle wheel into the water stream at any point so that the axis of the wheel is perpendicular to the plane of water, the wheel rotates counterclockwise. Therefore we expect that there is a curl of the field and it is non-zero. If the water is steady, the curl will be zero because paddle will not move. If the water is moving, the paddles will also move. So we can say that there is a some value to the curl. So in this way, by this physical phenomena, we can interpret how what is the meaning of the curl. So in all coordinate system, we have seen this equation del cross H in cylindrical, del cross H in spherical system. Same equation we can write in a determinant form. So for Cartesian coordinate system, del cross H is given by determinant Ax, Ay, Az, dou by dou x, dou by dou y, and dou by dou z. So this means these dou by dou y operations are del operations, and here we have to write the hx, hy, and hz component. In case of cylindrical coordinate system, we can write del cross H is equal to 1 upon r. So 1 upon r is outside the determinant, ar, r into a phi and az. Dou by dou r, dou by dou phi, dou by dou z. hr, r h phi, that is r into h phi and hz. So we have to multiply by r first, and then whatever h phi component, if it is given, then you have to write the h phi component here, and hz component, if it is given, we have to write it here. Okay, if you solve this determinant, then we'll get this kind of same equation for cylindrical system. You try this, solve this determinant, find out. Here 1 upon rho means 1 upon r. Now for the third system, that is spherical coordinate system, del cross H is equal to 1 upon r square sine theta, ar cap, r a theta cap, and r sine theta a phi cap, right? And second row is dou by dou r, dou by dou theta, and dou by dou phi. And third row is hr, r h theta, and r sine theta h phi. If you solve the determinant, we will get this kind of equation again. So either you remember this equation or you have to remember these determinants. So remembering determinant is very easy. That's why I have explained these determinants here. Now there are some properties of the curl, because we are going to use these properties in the next chapter maybe. So let us have a look onto that. The curl of a vector field is another vector field. If you apply a curl to a vector quantity, then we'll get again a vector quantity. But if you apply a scalar curl to a scalar quantity, that is del cross V, where V is voltage and voltage is a scalar quantity, there is no sense of applying a vector curl to a scalar quantity, because scalar quantity doesn't have any direction, so we cannot apply rotation to that quantity, right? So there is no sense of applying a curl to a scalar quantity. Third property is del cross A plus B is equal to, if I apply curl to this bracket A plus B, then it is associative law. So that is del cross A we can separately apply, plus del cross B we can separately apply. Then the fourth one, if you apply del cross to del cross B, A cross B, this means del cross A cross B, then we can write this expression as A. So first quantity you have to take kept outside the bracket. Then we have to write del dot B. This is divergence of second quantity B, minus, this is important equation, we are going to use it once again and in the next chapter. So second thing is B in bracket del dot A, del dot A plus B dot del into A minus A dot del into B. So this is the way to explain this del cross A cross B. Again, fifth law, del cross V into A, right? V is a vector quantity and I think A is a scalar quantity. So sorry, v is a scalar quantity and a is a vector quantity. So we can multiply this by any scalar value to a vector value. So what is the output? So it is equal to vector scalar v into del cross a, means you can take this scalar outside and you can apply this curl to the vector quantity alone, plus you have to take the gradient of that scalar quantity. Now gradient can be applied to the scalar quantity. So del v means gradient. Del v means gradient. So it is gradient of v cross a. Next is divergence of a curl of a vector field vanishes, means if I take the curl of a vector quantity a and then if I take the divergence of that vector quantity, then it is equal to 0. What is the meaning is curl of gradient, then the last equation is curl of a gradient of a scalar field vanishes. That means if I apply curl, that is del cross, to a gradient point, that is del v, then it is equal to 0. So to apply a curl, we must have a vector quantity, then del cross a cross b is one more important theorem. We are going to use this theorem in the next chapter. Let us see the next theorem of magnetostatics, which is known as Stokes theorem. So in Stokes theorem, the Stokes theorem states that the integral of tangential component of a vector field, that is h bar, around a closed path L is equal to integral of normal component of curl of h over the open surface S, which is enclosed by that path L. In other words, Stokes theorem relates closed loop integral or line integral h dot dl bar to the surface integral del cross h dot ds bar, and in the equation form it is given as closed line integration of h bar dot dl bar, that is circulation of h along a path dl, closed path dl, is equal to surface integration of del cross h or curl of h over the surface ds bar. So in the equation form, this equation is stated like this. So it is one equation again for in the integral form for the Maxwell's chapter. Now let us find how this is true. So consider a surface like this. So this surface is, we are calling this surface as S surface. Okay, this surface is open. We can call this as open surface, but there is a path which encloses this surface. There is a path L which encloses the surface. Now we divide this surface into small areas. Each area will have a area vector or area value which is equal to delta S. Now, and we circulate H through this path, through this entire path, and also we circulate H through this simple small areas, right? Then let an cap be the unit vector normal to the delta S surface. So an cap will indicate the direction of this surface and it is normal to the surface. H is circulated for each segment, each part here, right? So for delta S, H bar is a magnetic field intensity, an bar is the unit vector perpendicular to the surface, dl is this area, dl is this length for that particular small area delta S, right? So from by previous law, Ampere's law, we can write integration of h dot dl or closed integration of h dot dl divided by delta S is equal to del cross h, this is a curl of h, is equal to curl of h into an cap. This means this curl of h is a normal component of curl of h, and normal component of curl of h means perpendicular to each area. So we can write this expression as closed integration of H dot dl. Now if I take this delta L onto this side, then it is equal to closed integration of H dot dl bar is equal to del cross H into a n cap. That dot a n cap means what? We have to take the dot product of unit vector normal to this del cross H, and that will give us normal component of del cross H multiplied by the delta S which was in the denominator will come here, so it is multiplied by delta S. Now if I take delta S multiplied by a n cap, then it is equal to vector area, that is delta S. Here the delta S is just a magnitude, but if I multiply it by a n cap, then it will become vector quantity, and it is indicated by delta S bar. So this equation comes as del cross H dot delta S bar. Now this is a dot product between del cross H and delta S bar, right? So there are many such components, many such areas which are enclosed, and each area is having one direction of H, but the area next to it will have anti-clockwise direction or similar circulation of H. So at this edge, one H is going in this direction, and the other H, because of the adjacent area, will come down in this way. So these two components of H bar at the edge will cancel each other. So similar will happen to this part, similar will happen to this part. So all H components of adjacent areas delta S will cancel each other. Only we have to consider H components at the edges. Okay, so here it is written that from the diagram it can be seen that the total integral of surface delta S enclosed by loop inside the open surface S is 0. So this integral, this if you add all such HDL for each of these small area, the total HDL will become 0. Therefore, the total integral on the left side of the equation is perimeter of the open surface S, right? So this will become the only, we will left with the outer length of this area, and that is nothing but the perimeter of this surface. So hence we can write HDL, close integration of HDL for path L is equal to del cross H dot ds, right? Where loop L is the path that encloses surface S. Means if you take simple if you take separate integration, or if you apply Ampere's law to separate area and take the curl and equate the surface area with the Ampere's HDL, and if you add all the HDLs for these surface areas or small areas, then they will vanish. Only the outer part, which will indicate the perimeter of this open surface, will have to be added, and so that is written here. So closed path integral for path L, closed path integral for path L is equal to del cross H, curl of H dot ds. So it is curl of H for entire surface ds, and we have to take the surface integration that of entire surface area. So these two parts are same. Either you can circulate H over the path, that is same as taking the curl of H over the surface ds. This is the Stokes theorem. So we have to remember this equation. One more thing I want to tell you that yesterday we have seen this B bar dot ds bar equation, but here I have told you to represent this flux by psi, but in our books it is indicated by phi. So we'll use phi letter to indicate magnetic flux and psi letter to indicate electric flux. So remember this equation, phi is equal to surface integration of v bar dot ds bar. So Stokes theorem can be applied to electrostatic fields to derive one more Maxwell's equation. So in electrostatic field, we know that integration of E bar dot dl bar has some value that is equal to, we known as, it is work done. But if E bar dot dl bar is circulated by through a closed path, or work done for a closed path is equal to 0. This means the electric field is a static electric field and its closed path integral is 0 everywhere. So such fields are known as conservative fields. Now if we apply Stokes theorem to such kind of integration, then we can write closed line integration of E bar dot dl bar is equal to surface integration of del cross E dot ds bar. And as E bar dot dl bar is equal to 0, we can write del cross E dot ds whole equal to 0. So after equating this, we can write del cross E is equal to 0. This means curl of E is equal to 0. So curl of E, that is electric field intensity, is static field, and its curl is 0 means it is, the field is conservative if it has a 0 curl at all the points over which the field is defined. So this del cross E is equal to 0 is one more Maxwell's equation coming from the electric field. By using Stokes theorem, we have derived this equation del cross E for static electric field. Let us solve one example based on the curl. So consider this vector field. Find the curl for the following vector field. A bar is equal to x square y ax cap plus 4yz ay cap plus 2xy az cap. Now curl means we have to find out del cross A bar, right? So what is equation? Now this system is a Cartesian coordinate system. So for this, what is the equation in the matrix in the determinant form? That is the simplest way to remember. So it is ax cap, ay cap, az cap, dou by dou x, dou by dou y, dou by dou z, and we require ax component of vector A, ay component of vector A, and az component of vector A. So this is the equation to find the curl in Cartesian coordinate system. So let us find out. So if we write del cross A bar, then in the previous equation, this component is Ax component, this component is Ay component, and this component is capital Az component. So we will write again the same determinant Ax cap, Ay cap, Az cap, dou by dou x, dou by dou y, dou by dou z. And what is Ax component? X square y. And what is Ay component? 4yz, and Az component is 2xy, 2x into y. So let us find out whether we can solve this. So the first thing is we have to take the dou by dou y and subtract this quantity and then this quantity. So it is in bracket dou by dou y of 2xy minus dou by dou z of 4yz whole multiplied by ax cap. So for the second part, we have to write the minus sign and ay cap in bracket. In bracket what? Now we have to skip the middle column. Then it is dou by dou x of 2xy minus dou by dou z of x square y into this ay cap is there, right? Plus third component, it should be multiplied by plus az cap, and in bracket what will come? First two columns, consider the first two columns, dou by dou x of 4yz minus dou by dou y of x square y. Okay, so after this, what is dou by dou y of 2xy? It is 2x. Dou by dou z of 4yz is 4y. So for the first term, del cross A is equal to, because vector A bar is given. So it is 2x minus 4y. Is it correct? Yes, 4y. Right. And then it is multiplied by ax cap. Then the second term, partial derivative of 2xy, that is 2x, and dou by dou z of x square y. But here no z terminal in the second quantity, so dou by dou z of this quantity is 0, right? So it is 2x minus 0. So second term is minus 2x minus 0 into ay cap, and third term plus, what is it? Dou by dou x of 4yz is 0, and dou by dou y of x square y is x square. So 0 minus x square, so that is 0 minus x square into az cap. So finally it is 2x minus 4y ax cap minus 2x into ay cap minus plus minus, so x square az cap. Now if they have told that find this vector field at point, for example, 1 comma 2 comma 4, find this vector field at this point, then we will put this point 1 2 4. This is del cross a bar, and but del cross a bar at 1 2 4 is equal to, then I will put x equal to 1, y equal to 2, and 4, z is equal to 4. So 2 into 1, so 2 into 1 minus 4 into 2 into ax cap minus 2 into 1 ay cap minus 1 square az cap. That will be the final term. So 2 minus 4, 4 into 2, that is 8. 2 minus 8, that is minus 6 ax cap minus 2 ay cap, and third term will be 1 square az cap, that is equal to 1 az cap, or just az cap, right? So this is your final equation of del cross A at point 1 comma 2 comma 4. If the point is not given, then this is our final term. A bar is given in terms of some cylindrical coordinates, cylindrical values like 4 r ar cap minus 2 phi z square az cap, like this. Then we have to use the second determinant for cylindrical system, and if it is given in spherical system with r, theta and phi, then we have to use the third determinant to find the curl of H. Let us consider one more example for finding curl in cylindrical system. The example is, given the general vector a bar is equal to sine of 2 phi into a phi cap in cylindrical coordinates, find the curl of a bar at point 2 comma pi by 4 comma 0. So for this example, a bar is this, and it is given as some sine of 2 phi into a phi cap. So this is capital A phi component of this vector a bar. AR component is not available, and AZ component is also not available. Only A phi component is available. So how to solve this? So we know in cylindrical coordinate system, del cross a bar is given by del cross a bar is equal to 1 upon r. Either you can consider determinant or you can consider this equation. After solving the determinant, we will get this equation. 1 upon r dou az by dou phi minus dou a phi by dou z into ar cap plus dou AR by dou Z minus dou AZ by dou R into A phi cap plus 1 upon R partial derivative of R into A phi divided by dou R minus 1 upon R dou AR by dou phi into AZ cap. Now as AR component is 0, AZ component is also 0, we are only having A phi component. So del cross A bar, so this first term is 0 because there is no AZ component, so 0 minus dou sine of 2 phi divided by dou Z. So it has to be taken partial derivative with respect to dou Z, and outside the bracket there is AR cap plus, now AR and AZ both components are 0, so these two terms are again 0 into A phi cap plus 1 upon R dou R into A phi. So A phi is sine of 2 pi, we have to multiply it by first by R, then we have to take the derivative with respect to R. So it is 1 upon R dou R into sine of 2 pi with respect to dou R minus AR component is 0, so it is 0 into AZ cap. So this again come to the first term, so 0 minus this is also 0 into AR cap, second term is almost 0, so 0 into A phi cap plus, so derivative of R sine of 2 phi is with respect to R is sine of 2 pi and divided by this R into AZ cap will be there. So finally it is sine of 2 phi divided by R into AZ cap. This is the del cross A in equation form. Now we have to put the point. So at point 2 pi by 4 0 means R is equal to 2, phi is equal to pi by 4 and Z is equal to 0. So del cross A at 2 pi by 4 0 is equal to sine of 2 phi. So phi is pi by 4. So 2 into pi by 4 means pi by 2 divided by 2 into AZ cap. So sine of pi by 2 is 1. 1 divided by 2 into AZ cap, that is 0.5 AZ cap. So del cross A at 0.2 pi by 4 0 is 0.5 AZ cap.